One of the best ways to keep the nasty weather out is to make sure all of the nooks and crannies in your home are sealed properly. And doors are often susceptible to improper sealing. But Sean Buino has a solution.
This is a standard weather stripping that's attached to a molding that we're going to nail to a door frame. This cushy pad here is going to stop the cold air from coming in those little creases in the door.
And Sean, what are some of the supplies we need for this project?
So the weather strip does not come custom made, so we have to cut it on site. So you need a tape measure and a hacksaw. We're going to use a pencil to mark it, and I also brought a knife because the hacksaw is going to cut the wood molding. The knife is going to actually cut that weather strip cushion.
We've also got something with a little power, a nail gun. You could use a hammer and nails to attach the weather stripping, but this will make it go a lot faster. Don't forget to grab some Danish oil, gloves, and a rag too.
So Ryan, we're going to use just this dark walnut oil to apply onto this molding here so it matches the door. So we wiped the molding down with a dark walnut oil. The reason we're using that is because it's going to match closely to the frame that we're going to install the molding onto. Now, as you can see, it is a little bit lighter. I'm anticipating putting another coat on when it gets warm outside in the springtime.
Okay, and how long is this going to take to dry?
It'll take about 24 hours to fully cure and dry, but it's dry enough for us to handle right now, so we're going to work with it. The next step is to remove the old weather strip, measure the header piece so we can get that installed.
Okay, sounds good, Sean. Well, let's get to it.
So we've got to take this old weather strip off and then measure for the new weather strip. You can see how thin and flimsy this weather strip is. When it was first installed, it was fine, but over time, as that door gets used and there's seasons of temperature change, this will degrade. So that's why we have to put the new weather strip on.
After measuring the top of the door, we head inside to cut.
Hey Ryan, we're back at the workbench. We're gonna make the cut for the top piece of weather strip, and then we're gonna cut the wood portion of the weather strip with a hacksaw, and we're gonna cut the plastic part of the weather strip with our knife here.
Okay.
So we've got the top piece ready to be installed. It's always important to do the install when the door is completely closed because we want this plastic to be compressed up against the door.
Okay.
And that's when we know it's okay to nail it in.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I'm going to be the designated holder.
With the header secure, we measured the left side, then the right.
Sean, we have our measurements, but they're not equal.
This house is about 100 years old, so there is settling factors, and this is a wood door frame, so there's different temperature changes that affects the size. That's why it's always important to measure each side so you get a nice tight seal with the weather stripping.
Man, a lot of back and forth, inside and out. But as Sean said, it's important to be precise with these measurements. So we continue to measure, mark, and saw until our two pieces are ready for install.
So Sean, the plastic here is a little floppy. That's not going to matter?
It's not going to matter because once we get this up against the door frame and nail it in place, that's going to stick just fine.
Okay, well, why don't we go do that right now?
Let's
Sounds
go.
good.
So Ryan, the key is when you're nailing the weather strip into the door frame, is to be aware that there might be fluctuations with the door, so you have to put your thumb or have somebody else help you really press that against the door as you're nailing it in so you get a nice tight seal. The shade of the stain that we bought was correct, but one coat's not enough. It needs a couple extra coats to really blend into the door, but that's easy to do. All in all, this project was under 50 bucks, and it's definitely gonna make you feel more comfortable inside. You're not gonna get that cold air drafting in through the cracks and creaks of your door, and it should save you a few bucks as well. So it's a great project to tackle to protect your house from that cold weather.
Looks great, Sean. Thanks a lot, man.